Okay, so welcome everyone again. I have a brief agenda for us. We won't even be here for an hour. I think there'll be plenty of time for questions and answers at the end. We did our introductions, but next I'll introduce the members of our team JDP. After that, I'll give you some brief history of our program. There are several highlights that I want to make sure you know about. I'll cover the milestones on your way towards a PhD, and then we'll discuss the application process, although it is really early on for that, but I'll give you some background and information. So first, I mentioned I'm Marva Capello. I've been the director since 2019, January 2019. I love it. This is the work I need to be doing. I've worked with our doctoral students long before that. My first doctoral graduate was in 2011. I just finished my 24th academic year here at SDSU, and I love it. Now, you may have heard or even met Fiona, who we love and treasure, but Fiona just got promoted and she'll be leaving us for the history department. So July is going to be a little wonky until we find someone, a new coordinator for our department. So in the meantime, if you have questions, please just send them to me directly. Just as a cautionary tale, there's 2 P's and 2 L's in my name because sometimes people don't do 2 and 2 and then they don't get your email. So yeah, we are looking for a new coordinator for our department, but we'll make it through. Fiona's been an amazing part of our team, and we're sad to lose her, but happy for her promotion. We have 2 student workers that are really part of our family. Suzette Montoya is a master's degree student. She worked with us during her undergrad, left and did some work, and now came back for her master's and was working with us again. And then Addie just graduated, but we're able to keep her through some foundation funding. So you'll get emails from them. If you write to the Grad Prague email, you'll be talking with Suzette or Addie. I think one of the most important things for you to know, and this is one of the most important things that I need to know about you, is that you align with the mission. Our mission is more than just talk, and we've been doing this work for a really long time. We were founded in 1978. So the mission includes a variety of parts, but everything that we do is to improve the circumstances for the communities that we serve. So we want to make a difference from an educational counseling perspective for the populations that we serve. The mission is what drives us. It's what makes a difference. That's why we could have folks here from philosophy and history and K-12 education and higher ed, because we're all working towards the same goal. So our mission is a four-part framework. The first one is equitable educational outcomes for all students. So this is, early childhood. We have an early childhood person here all the way through university. When we talk about educational context, we have students that are studying in every one of those situations. But our goal is to provide training for teachers, research that can be used in classrooms, all kinds of classrooms, that will help us become more equitable educational practitioners. The second component of our mission is social justice. So this includes certainly access and equity, but also a way that students can participate. This is especially important to me when I think about the use of visual pedagogies, for example. So social justice in educational context is key. We are dedicated to improving the systems that serve diverse communities. So we want everybody to be successful. And we believe that sometimes our marginalized populations need a little extra lift. And we're focused on, trying to level the playing field as best as possible. And then finally, we are community-centered and democratic and believe in democratic schooling. So a lot of what we do, the kinds of research that we do, empowers our participants, empowers the folks that we work with to give them voice in what we study and how we learn from them. So again, all of these things make up our mission. Ooh, got a little stuck there. There we go. And then while you're here in the program and you're working towards those 4 big goals, you will do that by critiquing and expanding the educational theories as well as research methods. We're really well known for a program that innovates research methodologies. And really, our goal is we're going to meet those 4 components or tenets by preparing diverse scholars for our educational workforce. That's what we're all about here. Oops. Oh, and then a newish component, a more recent addition, has come from student desire that we have a new global and trans-border education component. I'm going to tell you a little bit more about that, but we already have a strong relationship with a university in Oaxaca. And as of this summer, we also have a partnership with a university in Taiwan. So our students get to travel abroad and experience global perspectives on education. And I love that in our room, we have someone from Italy, we have someone from Ghana, someone from Nigeria. Like we already represent that right here in the room. So I love it. Okay, so we do have a set of expectations and dispositions, and it's really all based on the mission. So we're really expecting you as representatives of our program to uphold that mission and the dispositions that that support that mission. So it doesn't matter, again, if you're an early childhood educator, if you're in student services, if you're looking at educational counseling, none of that matters. What matters is that you're focused on the same goals that we are. The other thing I want to make sure is that you understand that diversity is one of the hallmarks of our community. So we have a variety of students in our program, and that includes race and ethnicity and language, which we typically talk about, but we also have nationalities, sexual orientation and gender expression. We have age diversity. We have students that are working full-time and going to school full-time. We are truly a diverse population, and I think that makes us better. So we don't tolerate any discrimination. You're going to be having some heavy conversations in this program. There's very substantial discussions that go on, and we welcome them, and we treat everybody with respect. So just a little bit of our brief history. As I mentioned, we were founded in 1978. So we've been doing this equity work long before it became like a catchphrase, DEI, and a lot of programs after the horrible murder of George Floyd started like focusing on diversity, but we've been doing it for a really long time. This has always been the mission, the centerpiece of our program. As of last May, just a couple of months ago, we now have 296 alum. I'm really proud of that. We have pretty small admission classes. I like to target like 8 to 10, 12 would be absolute max. And there's several reasons for that. One is because we want to meet your needs. I'm not going to take in someone, even if they are equity focused, but I can't provide them with what they need. And then the second is, of course, we are really serious about admitting folks that are committed to our mission. So as I mentioned, we include teachers, principals, superintendents, educational specialists. We include people in the private and public agencies. We are consultants. 40% though of our graduates go on to work at the university. And that's either in a tenure track position or as an administrator or as in other higher ed roles like student services. So that's the most, our largest population, but we do have folks that take the PhD and go many different places. And again, coming back to our goal, and that is to make a difference in the communities that we serve. Now, our program is unlike probably other ones that you're thinking about and considering applying to, because it's a joint doctoral program. So the reason that it's a JDP is because until last fall 2023, like just 7-8 months ago, we were tied to the master plan in education, the California Master Plan for Education. It's also called the Donahoe Higher Education Act. It's from the 1960s, so it did need updating, but it stated that the UCs give PhDs, the CSUs are teaching universities, and the community colleges are vocational schools. We know that that has changed a lot since 1960. And so a bill was put through, Assembly Bill. There There it is, Assembly Bill 656 by Kevin McCarthy, not Kevin McCarthy, but Kevin McCarthy in Sacramento, to make it so that the CSU can offer standalone PhDs. So we do have standalone EDDs, but now we will be able to offer a standalone PhD. I'm thinking that's got to be at least 3 years down the line. There's a lot of hoops and whistles. Nobody has gotten permission yet, but I do think that SDSU will be one of the first because we're higher ranked than some of the UCs, and especially the College of Education. I'll give you some background on that in just a few more slides. But in the meantime, our joint program is designed so that you have the benefits of SDSU, which is a large public and more urban center, and our partner, Claremont Graduate University, which is a very small private institution in a more suburban setting. So this way you'll get the benefits of both of those things. And that's one of the things that makes our joint program special. This is just showing how we're all over the country and all over the world now. So just a map that shows you where our graduates go. In the next section, I want to cover some highlights. These are the things that I think are important for you to know as you're beginning to make your decisions about where you want to apply. So we'll go through the US News and World Rankings. We'll talk about our diverse community a little bit more. I'll talk to you about our faculty, and then some opportunities for you when you are a student in the program. And then some highlights about our flexibility and that makes it accessible for you to earn your degree. So first, the most recent 2024 US News and World Rankings place SDSU at number 48 in the country. So that's really amazing. And we're up 1 from last year. We were 49. So I know that these numbers aren't everything, just like in the K-12 sector, those high stakes assessments aren't everything, but it is meaningful in that we are the number 1 ranked in the CSU system. We are ranked number 6, which places us higher than several UCs in the state of California. Remember, 6 behind like Stanford, Berkeley, we're up there. And also number 1 within San Diego County. And I know I think we have both UCSD and USD in the room, but for education, we are ranked higher. A little bit more about our demographics. This doesn't include this year's group, the incoming group. I didn't have time to update this. It is up until the admission group from 2023. We've already made our decisions about 2024, but this doesn't include the new students. So you can see that when people talk about diversity, sometimes they mean like not like them. Like I was a classroom teacher in New York City for a long time, and some of my colleagues would be like, oh, I have such a diverse classroom. No, they're not white middle-aged women like you, but they're all Dominican or all Puerto Rican or wherever you are in the city. Our community is legitimately diverse. I mean, look at the range of folks that we have. Here's another way to look at that. So we have representations of American Indians. We have 2 folks right now that are really, that their research really focuses on American Indian identities. We have Pacific Islanders, including Native Hawaiian. We have white, Black, and Hispanic. So traditionally, up until 2023, our most represented group were Black and African Americans. And now our most represented group is Hispanic or Latino. And that's not unsurprising since we are a Hispanic serving institution. We also are an institution with the APIDA marking also. So we are a Asian American Pacific Islander serving institution as well. And so the 3 largest groups are white, Black or African American, and Hispanic and Latino, but we do have representation of many, many other groups. And I think that's important. I mean, there's something to be said about being the first person of your ethnicity or language or culture in general to earn a PhD, but it makes it a lot easier if you can see people like you achieving greatness as well. And so I'm really proud of the diversity that we represent. Of our students, approximately 65% are considered underrepresented underrepresented folks based on the university guidelines. I'm not a fan of that term because globally they're not underrepresented, but that's the term that the university is currently using. So you can see these are some of our recent graduates, really exciting times. We have in the top picture was 2 years worth of students because that was at the end of COVID. And then this was one group. And this year we had, I think, 6 finish. So they're small groups. I do want to pause just for a second and let you know that it's not a cohort the way many other models are. Most PhD programs, you move through with your admissions class, and then at the end you get your degree, like you're writing, everybody's writing their dissertation at the same time. But because we are so diverse and our backgrounds are so diverse, we're coming from all of these different master's and undergraduate degrees, that we do individualized plans for everyone. And so there are some required classes, but you move through at your own pace. That means that our seminars are typically, no more than 10. Sometimes you'll get a 12-person one, but the classes and seminars are really attentive. So you're really focused on your subject matter along with your peers who choose to take that class. Now, again, there are some required classes. I'm going to go over that in just a bit. But for the most part, you get to take the ones that will serve you best for your academic and professional goals. So I love us. I love us. Our JDP community does social events. So like, for example, the folks went bowling, or they may go see a basketball game because you get free tickets as SDSU students, which is a coup. If you followed college basketball for the last couple of years, it's a really good thing. Sometimes we're in the equity room, which is the main gathering place in our suite. And sometimes the students will put the game on. We have a giant TV in here, put the game on here and come in and work. So there are lots of social activities as well. We also have social justice focus. So for example, one of the things we did was to write letters to the detainees in Otay. We weren't allowed at that time to provide them with any supplies. So we just used all of our linguistic repertoires, and some folks wrote in Spanish, some folks wrote in Vietnamese, so that we could just let them know that we knew they were there. We were acknowledging them. And then also we will have academic activities. So we have every semester, like mingle with your professors, and there's always food involved because I'm Sicilian. And we'll do other things like how to build your CV, or applying for jobs is a really big one. So we'll have lots of academic activities throughout the semester as well. This fall, we're planning one on how to use the library. Oh, I forget what it's called because I don't use it. Not EndNote, Mendeley. How to use Mendeley to organize all your research. Oh, I almost forgot this. In addition to all of our cool things, these are 4 of our students, our PhD students, that went on a game show and won 15 grand. So I was really excited to share that with you. The PhD pals won 15 grand on America Says. It's on the game show network, and then Asia, Rika, and another student went on another one as well. I forget the name of that one, but yeah, so it's interesting. All 4 of these folks are graduated now. Naomi just finished. She was the last one. And these 2 that were first, Daryl finished, then Rika, they both have tenure track jobs in R1 universities. Daryl is an assistant professor at U of A, and Rika is starting, after a postdoc, she's starting her tenure track position at the University of Maryland, College Park. Asia works for NASPA, so those of you in higher ed know that. And Naomi just finished in May, so she hasn't landed yet. Our faculty. This is another amazing part of our program. Another really wonderful thing is that the JDP doesn't have its own faculty. We get to borrow faculty from the entire College of Education. And that means we have folks that are from counseling, from higher ed administration. We have folks from teacher education, from dual language. We have folks from all over the college. So that really allows us multiple and rich perspectives. We offer at least 8 courses per year, 9 or 10 typically, but our faculty come from everywhere. So you would decide like, oh, Dr. Hernandez teaches a wonderful class on post-colonial and critical theories. So you might want to take that class. And then Dr. Schenkel teaches learning theories. This semester, this fall, Dr. Baldonado is teaching a course on testimonial, which is a qualitative method similar to autoethnography, but very specifically for Latinx folks. So it's a wide range of classes that are offered because we have such a wide range of faculty that we can borrow from. And again, we do K-12, we do higher ed, we have counselors, like it's the whole gamut. Okay, some other highlights. I mentioned this earlier, we have a flexible program design. So most other programs, you move through the same classes with the same folks all the way through. And, you know, economically, that's a much better, makes much more sense. But for us, because we want to maintain the diversity of our student population, including the diversity of backgrounds that students bring in and their career goals, we have a flexible program design. Now, there are some required classes, which I'll share with you in like the next slide, or I'll just mention it now. So you will be required to take one class at CGU that's called Introduction to Educational Research, and a theories course here at SDSU. And then in addition to that, you're required to take at least 3 research methods courses. Most students end up taking more than that, 4 or 5, but you're required to do at least 3 because we think you need that to be able to complete an effective dissertation. You can do all 3 in quant if you want. We recommend a mix of quant and qual, but you can decide whether you want to take them here or at CGU. You need to take, of the 3, 1 at each university and the 3rd one, either way you want. We have students that are here full-time and students that are here part-time. So most of our students, I would say, are working professionals, but we do have some that are here full-time. We have someone who's on a GI Bill and they're time sensitive, so they're here full-time. So usually it has to do with external funding, but I would say the large majority, and I can't give you a percentage because I haven't calculated this, but certainly the majority, and I would say the large majority, are folks that are working at least part-time outside, with some working full-time. I mentioned the global education component. This is something we're really serious about extending. Our program offers the opportunity for you to earn the University Seal of Biliteracy. We're the only PhD program that we know of that does this. So this seal goes on to your graduate diploma, sorry. And it covers a cultural and a linguistic component. So like for someone who's a native Italian speaker, that would be great. And then it would include a cultural component as well. It doesn't mean that because you're proficient in Italian or Italian's your first language, that you need to go to Italy to do your cultural work. You could do your cultural work in Oaxaca or Taiwan, or we also have many opportunities across the border. So one of the important aspects of us is our location. We want to take full effect of our Borderlands Transfronterizo location and the way that we collaborate with our partners in Baja as well. So there are many opportunities, some embedded in our program, some you can seek out through international affairs, but this is an option that everyone can go in our program, is eligible to apply for. And right now I know there are 37 different languages that qualify. So because I have a student now who speaks native Hawaiian, and they even have it in native Hawaiian, which I was surprised to be honest. So yeah, another great pathway. We're always open to exploring additional partnerships globally. So we welcome you that are from other countries to show us your ways and show us opportunities that might be worth exploring back in your home countries as well. Okay, so just a few, these are just a few research and teaching opportunities that I want to make you aware of. So first thing is, I have some fellowship money that is granted to me through the College of Graduate Studies, and I can guarantee at SDSU only first year tuition. Now, there is a possibility of extending this for 2 years, but I can't guarantee. Oh, I'm sorry. Wait, let's back up. This is assistantships. That's the fellowship, two different things. Let's start with the assistantships. So first year, again, guarantee if you want it. You don't have to do that. Students typically work 5, 10, occasionally 15 hours. Usually that's for someone who's not working outside the university. But it's a really good opportunity because it gets you to be part of a research team. So even if you're working full time, I recommend you doing 5 hours of a graduate assistantship because it will help you connect with professors. It might get you a publication. I know for my students, I run a center, the Center for Visual Literacies. And so my graduate assistants, we're always working on conference presentations and publications. I'm hosting the International Visual Literacy Association here in October on SDSU's campus. They're highly involved in that. So this is a great opportunity. And then I would match you with someone who does related work or has related interests. Next is the fellowship. Sorry, I went out of order. So I'm really proud that we have a JDP education fellowship. It's pretty new. It started in 2020 or even 2021. And that is for SDSU tuition only. So SDSU, I have the means to provide support for anyone who has financial hardship. It's a sliding, so not everybody's guaranteed the same thing as some other programs, but you will at a minimum be granted enough to go part-time for 2 semesters, and a maximum of up to full-time for 2 semesters. It could go into the next year. So like, for example, I just admitted a small group, I think it's 8. So I probably am going to have a little bit of funds left to support other students who will need that money, like second-year students. But I'm really happy to say that. We'll talk about CGU in just a second. Another thing that we have is called from the Department of Research and Instruction, it's called the College of Graduate Studies Doctoral Fellow. It's super competitive, but we get one a year, and that's matching. So it's a 2-year program where they cover all of your tuition for 2 years. Another opportunity that we have is the University Graduate Fellowship. We've now had 3 students that qualify for this. This one, though, it takes matching funds. So you'd need to find a faculty member that you want to work with that has, usually it's a federally funded grant. And so the university matches 30 grand with the grants 30 grand, and that covers you for more than enough. Then you could even pay for some of CGU as well. And then a lot of our students teach on campus. So we have students that teach in undergraduate classes. Most specifically, we have students that work in the Weber's Honors College, which is the best because you just get to write your class. So for example, someone just did transborder identities in a class. Someone before her, the year before, did visioning your future, and they did vision boards. Like it's a really flexible. But we also have someone who teaches in philosophy right now. We have someone who teaches in sociology right now, 2 people that teach in sociology right now. And there are opportunities at the credential and master's levels as well. So we have a number of K-12 teachers that are teaching in the credential program. They already have a master's, and then 2 folks that are teaching in master's programs as well. Now, I do want to pause to talk about CGU because it is the elephant in the room, and I like to be transparent. This is something that's really important to me. So I want to make sure that there's no secrets, nothing's hidden. It's not like, oops, I'm going to find out later. There is a big difference between what it costs to attend at SDSU and what it costs to attend at CGU. And our JDP, unlike many others, you pay where you attend. So when you are earning your units at SDSU towards your degree, you pay at SDSU. When you're at CGU earning your units, your required units at CGU, you're paying CGU. And there is a great difference between the cost. The next slide breaks it down for you. But one thing that I've been fighting for is to have more fellowship opportunities for you all, because I have teaching assistantships, graduate assistantships, and fellowships that I can offer you at SDSU, and SDSU's tuition is so much less than CGU. The only thing that CGU has currently is one fellowship. It's called the Trustee Scholars Fellowship. It's a good one. It's $5,000 renewable for 3 years, but it's very highly competitive. We do have students that receive this fellowship, but that's it. That's all that they have right now. So I just want to be clear about it. I don't want to hide anything from you. And I think that there's many assets about having CGU as our partner. The faculty are amazing. My colleagues are amazing. The campus is lovely, but the money is a equity issue for me. I'm just being transparent with you. And so if I was to say anything about our partnership, there's so many rich and wonderful collaborations that go on, but the money is something that really, it's different. Here's what it looks like. So at SCSU, we have fellowships for tuition remission. Oh, the Chancellor's Doctoral Incentive Program, just briefly, if you Google that, it comes out of the CSU Chancellor's program. It is amazing. And currently we have 3 CDP scholars or fellows, they're called. It started off as a loan forgiveness program to home grow folks that want to stay in the CSU system, but now it's really prestigious. So it is still loan forgiveness. You can borrow at a lower rate than the feds. And if you stay in the CSU system, you get 30% forgiveness per year. And after 3 years, you're no longer, sorry. Hi, come in, I'm on a Zoom. I'm sorry. Do you want to wait a few minutes or? Okay. And, I forgot where it was. Sorry, exciting. We have a former student visiting. I'm so excited. Professor DeJeanette is a tenure track faculty at, I was gonna like Pomona, Cal Poly Pomona. Early childhood, we have an early childhood educator on the line.
Oh, yay.
But the CDP program is wonderful. Not only now is it the loan forgiveness program that you can get it forgiven after 3 years, but now there are other opportunities. You get travel money to go to conferences. There's money for you to do like transcriptions if you're including interviews. So, and then also I get calls from other CSUs saying things like, oh, we see so-and-so is graduating. Would they be a good fit for our program? The other things that we covered was the UGF fellowship, and then you are eligible for loans, so you can do the FAFSA. And then there are 2 scholarships that are just for JDP students only. One is the Dr. Rafaela Santa Cruz Family Scholarship, and the other is the Peggy Hawley Scholarship. And those you would apply through the big Aztecs portal, the Aztec Scholarship portal, along with anything else that you would be qualified for. And here are our CDP scholars, our current ones that I mentioned. We have 3 right now. Al earned a Fulbright in Belize. Griselda is about to defend her proposal, so she's entering the dissertation phase. And Denise just won the funding to conduct her dissertation research. So they're all doing great. Now the cost, this is the thing. So the difference between SDSU and CGU. So at CGU, you pay per unit. And at each university, you'll be doing 24 units. The program is 72 total. You bring in 24 from a master's program. The international students on the line, I do need to check that out. That's not a guarantee, but almost always it works. But we need to get your transcripts translated. And then the 24 units at CGU, you pay by the unit. It's over $2,000 a unit now. So without even fees, that's $48,000. You're gonna expect to pay $50,000 for just the CGU side of things. Now, their classes are 4 units each, so you'll take fewer classes there. You're gonna take 6 rather than 8 that you'll do at SDSU, but it still costs exponentially more. At SDSU, for a part-time student, which is considered 6 units or fewer. So if you take 1 class or 2 classes, it costs the same. Right now, it's about $3,500. So if you went to school part-time and you did 4 semesters of 6 units, that would be about under 15, like $14,000. If you went full-time, which it's about $5,100, you can get out for like under 12 or around 12 grand. So you can see there's a really big discrepancy between the costs there. But I just like to be transparent with you. And again, many, many ways that we can offset the SDSU portion, but my hands are tied at CGU because like I said, when you're at SDSU, you pay SDSU tuition. When you're at CGU, you pay CGU tuition. So I am an SDSU faculty member. I don't have there's really very little I can do to help you there. All right, we're almost done. Thanks for hanging in. We'll take questions in just a few moments. So the next thing I want to share with you are the program milestones, because as you know, PhD includes much more than just the coursework. We do have that coursework, which is 72 cumulative units that includes 24 units from your master's almost always. In addition to the coursework that you're going to take at both universities, you need to complete 3 qualifying examinations. A qualifying examination is a demonstration of your ability to conduct independent research. You have a supervisor, a faculty member will work with you, but it cannot be something that you did in a class. It has to be a project that you complete on your own. Now, you can start it in a class and, get a great idea in a class and then want to take it someplace further. That's fine. But they need to be demonstrations of your ability to conduct independent research. This is to let us know you're ready for the dissertation. Now, right now, 2 qualifying exams, typically they are a manuscript for publication. It doesn't have to be published, but it has to be submitted. An extensive literature review. Those are some typical things that you might see in qualifying examinations. And one of the 3 quals can count from a class. There's one class at CGU that's called Capstone. It's optional. You don't have to do it. It can be part of the 24 units that you have to already take at CGU. You can use 4 of those units to take that class. And it is, actually, I think it's only a 2-unit class. And that would count as one of your quals. And then you would just need to do 2 of those independent papers. I mentioned earlier, you need 3 research tools. These are just simply methods classes. You can study quant, you can study qual, you can do it on both universities. And then finally, after all of that's completed and all your coursework, all your quals, all your research tools, then you have the dissertation proposal defense. For my money, this is the hardest part of the program because you have to convince your committee that what you're proposing is going to answer your research questions and the methods that you've chosen would be effective to do so. I think it's even harder than the dissertation defense because once your proposal is approved and you get the go to go do your study, you're driving the car. Like, what's going on. You're collecting the data, you're analyzing the data. So at the dissertation defense, like, no one in the room knows more about that topic than you. So I think the proposal is the hardest part, but you should ask other students what they think. Here's another way to look at those milestones. At the beginning, you'll transfer in your units. There's that required class at CGU, which is 520. It's Introduction to Research. That's a 4-unit class now. And our recommended required class is ED 841, and that is Decolonial and Critical Theories class of 3 units. Then you'll continue to go on and collect your units. You'll do your research tools, your research methods classes. You'll file your program outline. And then after 46 accrued units, cumulative units, including your master's, you can begin your qualifying examinations. Typically, students do this in their 2nd summer. You can start before that if you have enough units. And then after 62 units, you need to transfer SDSU units to CGU, finish your quals, your proposal, and then off to dissertation. I'm going to pause to see if there are any questions before I have like 3 slides on admissions. We're such a small group. Please feel free to just unmute.
Oh, I had a question. So I'm trying to map out the funding and I have I have some funding committed from another department at SDSU. And so I'm wondering, would that match up with the university graduate fellowship or
It
that
very
kind of,
well could. It very
okay,
well could. It's an application process, but you and I can talk about that more
okay.
specifically. But yeah, it very well could. Yes.
Yeah, because they offered like matching fund. They're like, we could do half if you can find the other half.
Yeah, that would be that. Yep.
Okay,
Mm-hmm.
cool. Great. Thank you.
You're welcome. Anything else?
I do have one. Do you think you can go over the qualifying exams again?
Sure. So a qualifying examination. So let me also be clear, like you might, when you're looking at other programs, some quals are in, you sit in a room with a proctor and you do it in real time. That's how one of mine was. That's not what this is. We are asking you to conduct research outside of courses. So the number one product of a qual is a manuscript ready for publication. It doesn't have to be published because sometimes the publication process could take a year. I mean, it's absurdly long, but it's a finished product that a faculty member approves and says, yeah, this is ready to go out. The second most common option is an extensive literature review. And that's because both of these things can be used toward your dissertation. The qualifying examination helps your committee. You'll have a committee of 4, 2 at SDSU and 2 at CGU. Know that you're ready, you're prepared to move into the dissertation phase. So it's like another scaffold or a stepping stone to help you make your way there. And a third thing that often happens in qualifying exams is for students that are using quantitative methodologies, they might run a validation test. So let's say you're writing a survey, you're not using someone else's survey that's already been validated, you're creating your own. A great qual would be to validate that survey. So use a small population, try it out, see if it was reliable, things like that. So all of your qualifying exams should help you move closer to the dissertation phase.
Okay, got it. Thank you so much.
You're welcome. All right, I'll move on to admissions, but no, not only will I be here to answer questions now, but it's early in the process. So we could always jump on a Zoom. I invite you to come back to any other information sessions because sometimes it feels like you're getting it all. And then when you, like 2 days from now, you'll have a question, you can just shoot me an email and that'll be fine. So again, typically that might go to Fiona or to Brad Prague, but you can send that to me directly. Okay, so for admissions, you need a master's degree from an accredited university. Again, some doctoral programs, you can do a master's and a doctoral program embedded. We don't have that. So you need a master's degree with a 3.0 or above. And I would say in a related field. So nobody here shocked me in terms of what they, like I can see a place for, you know, philosophy makes sense. But occasionally we do have, like I had someone in business apply thinking like, I really think they thought education PhD would be an easy ride, but they could not make it make sense. Like why educate? Well, I teach business classes. That's not really the same thing. So, but nothing in this room surprised me. We no longer need GRE scores, so that's a good thing. And then there is a residency requirement. So the program requires that you live in San Diego or Imperial Valley, or you're committed to relocating. Now, we do have students that fudge this a little bit. I have 2 students that live close to CGU and we're letting them count that as residency. And then I have another student who was here for the 3 years it took her to do coursework, but now she moved back to the Pacific Northwest in order to conduct her dissertation study. So there is some flexibility about that. I know San Diego's expensive, but we need you to be nearby. It is not an online program. It is not an online program. Many classes are hybrid, but it's definitely not an online program. Okay, the most important thing, the number one thing is that you're attuned to our mission. So when I read the personal statements, they come through me before they go to committee. If they're not a match for us, I don't even send them out. Like that's the number one important thing. If you would need to go, we can catch up on that. Okay, sorry. That's the number one important thing. I care much more about your personal statement than I do your GPA. And then the second most important thing is your letters. And I really urge you to think about including a letter from someone who can speak to your academic capabilities. So your boss is great. They can talk about your work ethic, but also to have someone who could speak to you as a student and at, you know, your situatedness for academic success would be really good too. Now, these are last year's dates. We don't even have this fall's dates yet, but just know they always open October 1st. And typically the due date for priority applications is December 1st. We always have more room than priority. Now, the priority ones, you know, sooner. So you can make decisions if you have multiple offers. There's a lot that makes the applying for the priority cycle attractive. But we always have more spaces after the priority cycle for general admission as well. And that's due February 1st. I want you to notice that because typically, and those of you that have been at in the CSU system or at SDSU, it used to be March 1st. It's no longer. It's February 1st, and that's the deadline. Now, I have very little. That's a CSU mechanism. I don't have a lot I can do with that. The second deadline, though, is the department application in Interfolio. That one I have a little flexibility on. So like if you've submitted everything, but I'm waiting for a letter by December 15th, that's not going to hold it up. But that first level, the CSU apply, the Cal State apply, I don't get to go behind the scenes in that and make changes. So that one is really strict. Those deadlines are really strict. And then you'll see that, just to review, you'll apply through Cal State Apply first. They'll give you a red ID. Then you go back and you apply through Interfolio. Interfolio is the one that I look at. The Cal State Apply tells me that you've met the university requirements for admission. That's their job. This is the one that I really look at. And then after I look at it, it goes to committee. Then it comes back to me and we make a decision on whether or not it should advance to CGU. It goes up to CGU and it goes through committee there as well. And then finally, the dean at CGU and myself, we make final decisions about who we're going to make offers of admission to. So it's a long process. It's, you know, multi-layered, but we're really committed to having folks that are really driven by our mission. Please take a look at our website. There's Michelle. There's lots of information there. There's information on our faculty there. And then also I encourage you to follow us on Instagram. We use Instagram quite often to communicate with our community. Today, we just posted a video from our excursion in Oaxaca that we went on in May. It was absolutely wonderful. One of the 12 doctoral students came with me and another professor, Dr. Hernandez. And take a look, it's really great. So that's what I have for you today. Again, this is our very first information session. I'm gonna stop sharing. Nope. Hold on. There we go. And get rid of this. There we go. And any questions that I can answer? And remember, if it doesn't happen now, it can happen in 2 days. It can happen in a week. You can just shoot me an email. And my email again, 2 P's and 2 L's.
I have a question.
Thank you.
Related to funding, or I guess like a two-part question. So as a staff of the CSU, we get a fee waiver for the for tuition.
Yes.
So when we were to take the CGU classes, that wouldn't count as part of
It doesn't. I'm
Okay.
so sorry. I wish it did. It doesn't.
Okay, that's good to know.
Yeah.
But also, so the follow-up question to that is the like relocation. So I would have to stay and work to use that fee waiver, but I'm in LA County. So would
Now,
there be a way to work?
It would be hard for you because it's not an online program, but if you
Mhm.
had a way to like come down, maybe stay a night, I mean, it depends on really, I'll be honest, how far you are up in, you're in Dominguez Hills, that's pretty far. Like it's,
Yeah, like South Bay.
yeah. So, it would be difficult. I mean, could you do it? Yeah, we have, like I mentioned, we have 2 students right now that live in LA. One lives in Pasadena. So, but they drive down, they carpool together, they come for classes. I have to be transparent with you. Like, our classes are very often hybrid, but almost never online. CGU has a few online classes, especially in the summer, but it's really important to us that we don't become an online program. I'm just being completely transparent with you.
Yeah. So then I guess a follow-up to what you said, there's fall, summer, and spring courses
Yep.
that happen throughout the whole year.
Yes.
Okay.
And you choose, you
Mhm.
don't, it's not like you have to take courses all 3, like you choose when you're going to come to SDSU, when you're going to go to CGU. So you're probably like halfway between.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
I do have a question as well.
Thank you.
The dates so the application opens this October for fall of 2025 term, right?
That's correct.
Okay. And when do you think like those dates will be available?
I think soon. I mean,
Okay.
to be honest, that we're just wrapping up I mentioned we're just getting the new folks registered. So, I mean, definitely this summer they'll be available. My guess is even before the end of July, but
Okay.
I'm pretty sure it will open October 1st. That's a pretty reliable date. I just don't know if the due date's going to be December 1st or December 2nd or when,
Okay.
yeah.
I just don't want to miss it. So I
Yeah.
just make sure. Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you so much.
And we'll post something on Instagram, of course, too.
I
Professor,
have a question.
go ahead.
Okay, 2 questions, just like everybody else. Number one, talking more about the personal statement. What is the ideal length to write it in? And what are some key suggestions to include in the personal statement beyond what's already posted on the website?
That's a great question. So I think we asked for 2 to 3 pages. It's clear on the application. And the number one thing would be how you are aligned with our mission. So that's more important to me than whether or not you taught 5th grade for 6 years, for example. If you're committed to social justice and equity, like that's the number one thing. The other thing I strongly suggest is that the application asks you to name faculty members, do it. Because if you're short faculty members, it's like a demerit on your personal statement, even if the rest is awesome and you only name 1 professor when we're asking you to name 2 at each university, the committee takes that to heart. So I would recommend that. On our website, you can see a list of our faculty and what their research area is. Now, you're not marrying them, and you may or may not end up working with them, or they may or may not end up being your advisor, but it shows us that you took the time to go in and explore and take a look at who's who.
Thank you. And then the second question I had is, typically on average, how long does it take most students to complete the program?
Great question. So typically at least 4 years. It's typically coursework is 3, sometimes 3.5, and a dissertation will take at least a year. Plan for a year. So 4 to 5 in that area. We try not to have students go more than like 6, because 7, your courses start to expire. So, and that's a statewide policy, not just us. So the sweet spot is like 4 to 5, I would say. How are you?
I was 5.
5.
Well, I had a unusual situation, but
Yes. you did.
I was 5,
Yeah.
from 16 to 21, yeah.
I would say that's average.
I was just gonna ask about the faculty pairing.
Yes.
And I think you kind of answered that. Is there any advice that you would give us around just how we go about?
Yes. So the way it's organized on our website, you can see what department the faculty belong to. That's a good place to start. So like if you're interested in language learning or transfronterizo identities, you should look for the faculty that have DLA, dual language education there. If you're interested in higher education, then you should either look at ARP, ARPE department. I don't know what it stands for. I'm sorry. Or ed leadership, like those. So I would start with those. Now that's not always the way it works out, but that's usually a good start. So sometimes it's a methodology, like someone will want to work with someone because of their expertise in a methodology. Like I'm going to do these super complex quant things. And so we have a professor at CGU, Dr. Drew, he's the guy. Like that's the way to do it. But I think going by department is a good place to start.
Thank you. It's really helpful.
And then also, Max, if you do have trouble like finding alignment, email me. I'll make some recommendations of folks you could look into.
Thank you. That's
Yeah.
great. Appreciate it.
All right. Oh, I should stop recording. And we are going to put this on the website so you can review it there.